Vidmori POV. I wasn't sure what to expect when Jack told me they had a captive, but a blue and black hawk-looking bird wearing a leather harness was not what I was expecting. A sky blue swan and a few other birds flew in, escorting the hawk in what appeared to be a swirling ball of water, the pathetic-looking bird being spun around and disoriented as it screeched out in distress. All the while, Jack had approached the pedestal with what looked to be a scroll, setting it down before stepping back proudly. "This bastard put up a big fight, but we prevailed in the end," he enthused, as he fluttered his wings a bit. "Jack, while I certainly acknowledge the enthusiasm, I don't believe you had to go and attack a random messenger bird. However, I appreciate the vigilance. Jack, let's see what you've got." I go ahead and pull the scroll into my storage space, unraveling it before looking over the contents. The writing was neat looking with flourishes, and the alphabet here was undoubtedly unique and flowy compared to what I knew. With the memories I've absorbed, I at least knew what it said, but I would probably have a hard time writing in this language, at least until I studied some more. The contents of the scroll were interesting, though, from what I can tell. It seems the sender has been staying at a frontier village of some sort, waiting for the promised delivery. The sender wondered if the deal was being reneged, or if they could no longer produce the previously discussed goods. "Well, Jack, I take back what I said earlier. Wonderful work. This was an excellent catch." It wasn't an exaggeration to say that this was a significant find, and a great chance to sow some discord in a rather unique way. After all, the sinners had the faces of the people this sender was waiting for. Now the question is whether or not I should try and lure them out of that town, or if I needed to meet them on their turf. I also couldn't let this stand for too long either. Focusing back on the others, I bring the scroll back out, settling it down where I had taken it before. "All right, Jack. Stop messing with that poor bird. Set them down and translate for me." I could form a bond with this new bird, but at the same time, I don't know where its allegiances lie, and I'd rather not just kill them for the info I want. Jack still seemed to exude pride, almost preening as he basked in the praise of his accomplishments. He looked over at his crew birds and gave the nod, the swan and the other birds dispelling the orb of water as the soaked ball of feathers landed in a heap. Jack proceeded to hop over to the drenched bird, pressing his clawed foot against their back to keep them pinned down. "All right, mate, you're going to listen hard and behave yourself, or else you'll get swallowed again," he warned, seemingly enjoying himself a little too much. The hawk squawks indignantly, as it looks up at Jack, but makes no effort to really resist all too much. With a nod of confirmation from Jack, I focus my attention on the hawk before speaking out. "All right. How far away is the town you flew from, and how many people are in the group you came with?" The hawk seems to go quiet for some time, before eventually squawking out, letting out chirrups and tweets in response. Jack nods intently, as he appears to listen before going over to me as his wings flick. "He doesn't know how long he's flown for, since he doesn't understand time, but he did mention the sun was high in the sky when he left." With that, Jack looks outside momentarily before looking back at me. "It'll be evening soon, so maybe he flew for around 2 to 4 hours, he speculated, before continuing with the report. "As for how many people, he claims that his handler has been moving with a group of 5 others, so that means there are 6 of them." "I see. So, that means it's another small group of people on the receiving end. It makes me wonder how big this operation is. I know people from the theocracy are getting taken, but it also seems to be on a small scale. Key cells of corrupt guards and a few high-ranking officials are making the moves, and trades, if the memories of these knights and acolytes are anything to go by. However, I know next to nothing about the hegemony, and those who are coordinating with the people from the theocracy. I probably shouldn't kill them either. As convenient as simply absorbing their memories are, it takes a while to sift through all the information between their life history and anything of actual worth. I would definitely be better off with some advanced interrogation tactics in order to gather more concise information And I suppose that means I'll need to make some holding cells, or maybe even a prison. This is starting to feel familiar, though it has been some time since I've done something like this. I hope I'm not too rusty. Alright, Jack, keep our guest under watch, and don't let him leave just yet. I'm going to send a message back with him to his handlers. Jack nodded as he saluted with his wing, before taking his clawed foot off the hawk, the soaked bird fluttering their wings as water splashed off of him. The bird appears to remain behind, slowly walking with its bird feet as Jack escorts them away. I look around my inventory before spotting an inkwell, quill and parchment that I kept from Ravir's things, though I stopped myself from writing up the letter myself in English as I mentally sigh. Right, this is another world's letter system. After a few moments, I call out to Shepherd Zassatir, needing his help with this particular task. He doesn't ask any questions, and it does take him some time, but the energetic lizard man enters my chamber soon enough. He doesn't look worse for wear despite rushing up the mountainside at his quick pace. Approaching, he took a respectful knee and courteously bowed his head. "Greetings, Vidmori, Executioner. Did you call for me? What can I do?" he asked almost eagerly, as he gazed intently at the glow of my core. "Ah, welcome, Shepherd. I have a favor to ask of you. Can you write a letter for me?" It kind of feels a little embarrassing to ask for something so simple, but it can't be helped until I learn how to write for myself. Zassatir looks clearly perplexed, but he smiles after a moment and nods at the request. "Of course, Vidmori. Might I ask who you could be writing to?" he asked, as his curiosity seemed to get the better of him. "Ah, well, that's the thing. I'm not exactly sure how to go about explaining the circumstances, but it is probably best to be straightforward with Zassatir, considering he'll be writing the letter. I'm writing to the people who are waiting to buy you from the Theocracy." Zassatir seemed to freeze up at the revelation, blinking slowly a few times before speaking up. "Ah, I see.